everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikita. I'm a full-time therapist in Toronto, and on this channel we chat about diversity and inclusion of BIPOC stories, especially South Asian stories, both in literature, fiction, and in real life. So you can expect a lot of book recommendations as well as my podcast called Brown People Problems. So for today's video, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite tech for reading books. I read a lot of books. I think the month of January, I read about 8 books. And as a full-time business owner, entrepreneur, and managing my home and relationships in my life, that's a lot. So I'll share some tech that makes it easier for me to read and engage in this hobby that I really enjoy. So first up, we have the actual physical book. I love floppy paperback. I am currently actually reading The Unlikely Adventures of Shergill Sisters by Bali Kaur Jaswal. This is the same author who wrote erotic stories for Punjabi widows, and I absolutely love her and everything that she writes. She's great. But obviously, an actual physical book is my favorite way to read. Can I always engage in it? No, but it is my favorite way to read. So, some benefits of actual physical books are that they're nice to hold. Like I said, I love nice floppy paperback. They're nice to hold. It's really gratifying. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but it's very grounding for me to actually hold a book and engage with it, right? Like the feel of the paper is very grounding. I know some people love the new book smell, but an actual physical book is definitely top of my list. Obviously, some downsides of physical books is that they occupy a lot of space. Like you can see, I have a massive bookshelf and I have run out of places to put my books. So that's a downside, especially if you live in a condo or if you live in a smaller space. Books can just start to spill over everywhere, and you can have them just stacked on your floor. There's no end to it. Physical books are also not very travel friendly. I'm the kind of reader who likes my books to remain in a really pristine condition forever. I try my best to never crack spines. I rarely ever fold pages. I don't like traveling with my physical books because that means they get damaged in the suitcase or just in travel, in commute. If I take books to the beach, it gets a lot of sand in them. So I'm not the biggest fan of traveling with my books because in my perspective, it does ruin my books a little bit. It's also really easy to spill things on here, so you can't exactly multitask while you're eating, having lunch or dinner, and reading. I mean, you could, but it's still hard. Moving on to the first piece of tech that I have here is actually my KOBO. This is what it looks like with the case, and this is what it looks like without the case. I'm currently reading Verity by Colleen Hoover. I jumped on the Colleen Hoover bandwagon and I finally decided to pick this book up. It's my first Colleen Hoover, so we'll see how it goes. But this is my KOBO. So maybe for those who don't know, KOBO is sort of a Kindle alternative in Canada. And KOBO is launched by Chapters, or now known as Indigo, which is a Canadian bookstore brand. And essentially it's just an e-reader, right? So I've never used a Kindle, so I can't really compare between Kindle and KOBO, but I absolutely love an e-reader. I've had mine for a couple of years now. Before this, I had the original version that came out, I believe, 10 years ago, and that lasted me a good 7-8 years. And I upgraded about a couple of years ago. This is KOBO Libra, I believe, but I will of course link it all down below. Obviously, some benefits of an e-reader is that e-readers are compact. They are really lightweight. They are travel friendly. You can just throw this in your bag, in your purse. I believe I actually have a jacket that has a pocket big enough to tuck this into. So I've taken this to parks after long walks. This has a huge storage capacity. I'm not sure exactly how much, but I believe you can store thousands and thousands of books on your e-reader, which is just massive. E-readers are quite durable, at least mine is. I've dropped it a few times, a little scuffed in certain places, but very, very durable. I believe mine is also a waterproof or a water resistant one, so I can take it to the beach or to the pool and not feel really conscious of getting it wet like I would with an actual physical book. It's also perfect to read in the nighttime because it's got some natural backlighting as well, and the paper, even though you can't feel it, just feels like a screen, but the paper, the texture also looks like the real paper as it would. So this is a really great alternative. One of the things that I've recently discovered in the last year, and I absolutely love about my KOBO, and I believe this feature is also available on the Kindle, is you can now borrow ebooks from your library. And so I love borrowing ebooks from my library on here, and I believe you get them for about 20 days. You can place holds, all the same usual stuff that you would do at a physical library. That's just made it so much easier for me to grab books that I don't necessarily want to go out and buy because I'm not sure if I like them yet or not. KOBO also has regular sales. Every single day there's one book that's on sale, and every single day they have a category of books $5 or under that it's just constantly running and constantly updated. I love that about the KOBO because ebooks in general tend to be a little bit cheaper, but my library is filled with books that I grabbed for $2.99, $3.99, and a lot of them bestsellers. Because let's face it, physical books, as much as we all love them in today's economy, they're not always economical. They're upwards of $25, $30 now for a paperback, not even a hardback. So if you are on a bit of a budget, you would really appreciate an e-reader. And also takes up less space. You can have thousands of books on here without worrying about a bookshelf. I have about 195 books on my KOBO. Obviously, for like the last 10 years, I've been using an e-reader, so I've accumulated a lot, but I have 195 and constantly adding. As much as I love an e-reader, there's obviously some downsides as well. So it's really obviously not a physical book, and like I said earlier, for me nothing beats like the feel of a physical book. So even though this is a great alternative, it doesn't beat a physical book for me. Another downside for me is that e-readers are all black and white, and I don't know if you can see, but this is what the Verity cover looks like, and I believe in person it's a nice beautiful green cover. So I'm the sort of reader who loves aesthetic books. I love how they look, I love the colors, I really appreciate the aesthetics on a book, and this takes away from that. So I'm not the biggest fan of that. I wish there was some sort of remedy for this. But overall, an e-reader is an excellent investment. KOBO especially has a ton of different ones for different budgets. I believe so does Kindle, and you can find something regardless of your budget, and they're a great investment. I don't think I'll ever stop using an e-reader. It's a great, great, great alternative. The last piece of tech that I use to help me read more is Audible. Everyone talks about Audible, everyone loves Audible, and I too am that person. I signed up with Audible a few years ago, and I'll be honest, I didn't love it right off the bat, but I've gotten more and more accustomed to audiobooks now. Audible is a subscription service. I believe it's somewhere around 15-16 Canadian dollars. I believe that's how much I pay, and you get 1 credit a month, which qualifies you to purchase 1 book from their platform. They have all the audiobooks that are available out there. Some benefits of Audible or just listening to audiobooks is that, again, you have a massive library, so you can store tons of books without ever actually running out of physical space. You can listen to audiobooks while driving. I like how they have a subscription service, so you get a credit every single month, which I think for a lot of us prompts us into sticking to our reading goals. So I love that. And there's something for me about listening to a book. So when I listen to the narrator, for me a narrator can make or break the book, but when I listen to a narrator, I really appreciate when they change the pitch of their voice, the tone of their voice, depending on the character that they're talking about or speaking from the perspective of. I believe there was an audiobook that I once listened to that had background noises, which I thought was incredible. It really gave me the feel for the environment, the physical environment the characters were in. So the ambiance piece was great, and listening to it and listening to a story can just be extremely grounding. I often feel transported to the story. So I'll usually use Audible when I'm on walks, long walks, or hikes, or driving, long car rides, long plane rides where I can just put in my AirPods and listen to Audible. Audiobooks are actually perfect for the busy reader. So if you are on the go, you have a lot to do, you're a busy mom, you're a busy professional, whoever you may be, you can always make time with an audiobook. You can listen to it on your commute, you can listen to it while driving, you can listen to it 10 minutes while you're in bed without necessarily having a book to hold up and flip through the pages. So it's perfect for the busy reader. Again, some downsides of that, it's it's not, again, a physical library. If you enjoy having physical books in your space, then Audible may not be your first go-to choice. You may use it to supplement your reading practice, which is what I do, but it may not be your go-to way of engaging in stories and engaging in books. I personally use my Audible mostly to listen to nonfiction books, because with nonfiction, when I'm listening to it, almost feels like I'm engaging in a conversation with the topic or with the author. And I like to take notes on the side of my nonfiction books as well, just so I can retain the material a little bit better and I can always come back to it. So I love audiobooks for that in particular. One thing that I don't love is that audiobooks actually use up quite a bit of storage space on your device, on my phone, especially when they're downloaded. So I have to, once I'm finished reading them, I have to go offload them from the device, and it takes up a lot of space. So if you're tight on space on your phone, it may not be it for you. Another downside for me is that books are quite expensive on Audible. So you get a credit every month for about $15 Canadian, but that's it. You just get one credit a month. And if you're a bit of a fast reader, or you read a little bit more than just one book a month, you go to purchase additional credits, maybe a little bit more on the expensive side, like sometimes $30 or upwards of $30 for an audiobook. Again, not a physical book. That can, I imagine, stop a lot of people from buying more credits. So I'm not the biggest fan of that, and I don't believe I have ever seen a sale or a reduced section at Audible. And like I said, it's perfect for the busy reader, but it's not maybe the ideal choice for the relaxed reader, someone who likes to sit down and relax and curl up on a couch. So for me, how much I engage with Audible just depends on my mood and my capacity for that week and what's the easiest. But is it my go-to choice, number one, every single time? Maybe not so much, but I really appreciate the convenience of it, and I don't think I will ever stop using it. So there you have it. Those are 3 ways in which I read most books. You got the physical books, you got the e-reader, and you got Audible. And those are some of from my perspective, benefits and downsides of each of these modalities, platforms. Let me know what you prefer. And if there's another form or another way of reading that I haven't discovered, please share it with me below. I would love to do that. I will of course link the type of KOBO that I have, and obviously a link to Audible in the description box below in case you want to check any of these out. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.